Meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Dr. Morita?
Here.
Mr. Brown?
Here.
Mr. Johnson?
Here.
Dr. Dane?
Here.
Dr. Mudrak? Mr. Morello?
Here.
Mrs. Dovey? Here. Mr. O'Brien?
Here.
Mr. Palmer?
Here.
Taskeen Amer?
Here.
Grace Barnett?
Here.
Quorum present?
Thank you, Ms. Majority. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Majority, please read the New Jersey Open Public Meeting Law Statement.
The New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice and to attend the meetings of the public bodies at which any business affecting their interests is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of the Act, the Montville Township Board of Education approved this meeting date. Notice of the meeting has been posted at the Montville Municipal Building, all Montville Public Schools, the Montville Public Library, the Montville Township Board of Education Administrative Office Building, the Montville Public School website, and advertised in the Daily Record.
Thank you. So we have with us tonight our two high school representatives, and we would be happy to hear your report.
Thank you. At approximately the midway point in the fall athletic season, the Mustangs are doing great. This Saturday, the field hockey team improved their record to 9-1 with a 10-0 victory over Randolph. This game was also the first game in the county tournament, so we wish the field hockey team the best of luck as they move on. The boys soccer team defeated Morristown 1-0 yesterday. Previously this season, the boys had tied Morristown, the defending state champions. This victory shows the true potential of this year's boys soccer team. The cross-country team has been having a great season so far. The girls team is led by a freshman, Anna George, who is ranked the #1 freshman in the state. The girls cross-country team recently won the Maroon Invitational, and both the girls and boys team placed third in the Passaic County Coaches Invitation. After a successful club fair, the high school's clubs are beginning to facilitate new members. National Honor Society has opened their tutoring lab this week. Here Seniors offers free academic assistance to students of the high school. Together with the Environmental Club and members of the SAC, class officers, and student volunteers, the Senior Courtyard was set up last week. The Senior Courtyard is a privilege for senior students, and it serves as a place where students can eat lunch and enjoy the beautiful high school campus.
This week, the high school is participating in the Week of Respect. Students were encouraged to wear blue on Monday, and the song Respect by Aretha Franklin has been playing over a loudspeaker each morning. This past weekend, the high school hosted a practice ACT test so that students had the opportunity to practice before taking the ACT. Today, Congressman Rodney Freelandheisen met with Mr. Riato's AP Government and Politics. He gave students a brief background about himself and then took questions from the students. Students were able to ask Congressman about foreign policy, the Affordable Health Care Act, immigration, and the upcoming presidential election. The week of October 19th is Red Ribbon Week. We have a lot of things to look forward to in the next couple of weeks. The football team is looking forward to the homecoming game next Saturday, October 17th. This year, Student Council decided to make the homecoming dance on a Friday instead of a Thursday, hoping to encourage more people to come. It will be held on October 16th. There will be catered food, a photo booth, and an awesome DJ. The class of 2017 is beginning to sell their tickets for their junior banquet, which is on November 20th.
So, Grace, did you say that we are midway through the fall athletic season?
Just so
Oh my goodness. Where does it?
so fast.
Yeah. Thank you. Any questions for our students? Thank you for coming. Superintendent's report?
Okay, a few things to report on this evening. We are required by the state to provide semi-annual reports with regard to violence and vandalism and HIB reporting. So we're kind of a little bit behind. The actual reporting period that I'm talking about this evening was from January 1st to June 30th of this year, and we had a total of 9 incidents of harassment, intimidation, and bullying, which matched the number of incidents that we had in the prior 6-month period. We had 2 counts of violence, no vandalism, 2 incidents of weapons, and 1 incident of substance abuse. So I think it's a testament to the administration in each building, and supported by the guidance departments, the SACs, that our numbers have remained relatively low with regard to violence and vandalism. The second thing that I wanted to report on is the New Jersey Ask science scores, and this also is a little bit unusual in that we typically would have all of the assessment results to report at this period of time, but with the park testing, that's been somewhat delayed, and I'll speak to that in a moment. But we did receive the science test results. Our students did very well. At the 4th grade level, our total percent proficient was 98.3, with a whopping 72.8% of the students in 4th grade reaching the advanced proficient mark in science, which is outstanding. At the 8th grade level, we had a proficiency rate of 89.3, and 23.3% of the students attaining advanced proficient. So in both cases, we are at or above the level of the district factor group I, which is those districts that are similar to us socioeconomically. So we are right in the range where we should be in terms of how our students have performed on that test. Those were the spring 2015 results. I wanted to just give a brief quarterly report update on the attainment of the district goals. The board has received a little bit more detail, but just to let folks know that we are definitely moving ahead with the various components of the action plan for these goals. I particularly want to highlight with regard to our first goal in student learning, a big part of that focus is on the YEA Climate Culture Survey. We have teacher training on that scheduled for Thursday afternoon, and we will be having a parent meeting on Thursday, October 15th at 7 p.m. to explain to parents a little bit about the process and the survey that will be administered to all the students. So we're definitely moving ahead with that. In terms of technology, we have implemented constant contact and have used that. We'll continue to use that in terms of sending out important information and newsletters to parents and community members. We are also moving ahead in our world language goal. We have a survey instrument under development. We're going to wait until the YEA survey has been completed, and then we're going to be moving ahead with our survey to gather student, parent, and teacher information with regard to their opinions and attitudes about world language study. And we do have a committee meeting scheduled for October 14th that will be reviewing the middle school schedule, looking to determine how we might be able to make some modifications to the schedule to incorporate a more robust world language program at the middle school level. In terms of the student success component, we do have a parent survey in development. We hope to be able to administer that late in the fall. So we are definitely making progress with regard to the action plan. And with regard to park, the Morris County School Boards Association meeting in September featured Barry Ehrlichson, who is the Chief Performance Officer for the Department of Education. She is kind of on a world tour around the state, speaking to various groups, board groups, administrator groups, talking about the park. We do expect that at tomorrow's State Board of Education meeting, the State Board will be privy to some information about statewide results on the test and some information about how to interpret the test scores. That information will be shared with local districts as well. The rollout of the park progress and results will be a multi-staged proceeding. I think it's October 23rd. They plan to release some sample test questions and exemplars so that teachers will know, what some of the examples are in terms of outstanding responses to the constructive response questions, and get a feel for what kinds of questions were on the test. This is a brand new experience for teachers. With New Jersey Ask, we were forbidden from looking at the test or seeing the questions. So to have the state release this information, we're kind of going to be in some new territory, and we're anxiously looking forward to seeing what those test questions look like. The actual individual student score reports, the state had led us to believe that originally that we might be seeing that information in October. Based on Dr. Erlickson's presentation last week, it appears that that information will not be made available to school districts until about the middle of November. And their advice to us was, when we receive this information, that we should not disseminate it to parents until we have the opportunity at a board meeting to fully discuss how we interpret those individual student score reports, the type of information that's included in those reports, so that people have an understanding about many aspects of the test. The fact that we are now going to be dealing with a new baseline. The PARC results are not comparable to New Jersey Ask results, so we can't make any year-to-year comparisons with what the score results were in 2014, and various other aspects of the test and how those results will be reported. We do expect that the individual district results will be made available to the public and to the media sometime in December. So, we'll have some time to get that information out to parents before the state releases the performance results for each district. So it's a little bit later than what we thought, but I think there's some value in taking the department's advice and kind of going about this very methodically. It's something new, and I think we really need to do a good job of educating the parents and the public in terms of what the results are all about, what they mean for the students and for the district as a whole. So that will be our schedule. We'll be looking to do that as the state provides that information to us. And the other thing that I just wanted to briefly comment on is I'm very pleased this evening to recommend to the board the ratification of the 3-year agreement with the Montville Township Education Association. And I want to thank Dr. Kane and his committee for their hours of work in achieving that agreement. We look forward to having the board finalize that tonight.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Dr. Rotar? Dr. Rotar, a question on the evangelism report. Could you describe the nature of the weapons?
They would be knives or something, that nature. Yes, not guns.
Okay. I just want to make that.
Yes.
Absolutely, our students and staff should be congratulated for these great scores on science, New Jersey Ask Science. And I would also like to thank you for implementing constant contact. This is something that we have been wanting to do for quite some time, and I think you were in the district for 2 weeks and had that accomplished, so thank you. Any other questions or comments? Yes. Okay. So the next item on the agenda is presentation of Girl Scout Gold Award to Jacqueline Minetta. Jacqueline, come on up here. Now, some of you probably know, right by the mic, that my son is an Eagle Scout. So I can speak very fluently about the work that goes into becoming an Eagle Scout. Unfortunately, my daughter never became a Gold Star, a gold award recipient, because she never pursued Girl Scouting that far. So that's unfortunate for us. But if achieving, I'm well aware that achieving the Gold Award is a systematic, progressive achievement over many years, just, like in Boy Scouting, and that with each achievement, the young woman gains more and more leadership skills, more and more responsibility is given to her, culminating in a project that is very important to the Girl Scout. So, and to the community, there's a contribution to the community. So tonight we have a resolution that I'm going to come down and give to you and read it while I'm there and congratulate you. So Jacqueline, whereas Jacqueline Mineta is a resident of the Township of Montville, and whereas Jacqueline has attended the Montville Township schools for 12 years, and whereas Jacqueline is and has been a member of Girl Scout Troop 501 in the Township of Montville, and has reached the great distinction of achieving the position of Girl Scout Gold Award, and whereas Jacqueline has completed as her Gold Award project by working with the Montville Soccer Association to run a practice for each youth soccer team. She spoke to the girls about the meaning of sportsmanship, competing, and how it builds character, not only on the field, but in life. She ran drills and had them scrimmage against each other. With help from principals and gym teachers, she was able to work with students with relay races and inspired students to cheer for each other and the opposing teams. Her goal was to inspire sportsmanship and to stay positive. Now therefore be it resolved that the Montville Township Board of Education, this, the 6th day of October 2015, recognizes and applauds the innovation, creativity, and hard work of Jacqueline Mineta for the honor and distinction she has brought to her family, school, and community in reaching her goal as a Girl Scout Gold Award recipient. Congratulations. And thank you to Mom and Dad and brothers, because I'm sure they all helped you, right?
Yeah, my mom.
Yeah. Thank you. Congratulations.
Oh, can you shake my board member's hands? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming out. Okay, let's see. Diane, you good? Nothing to report. Committee reports, Charlie?
We had a finance meeting September 16th. Quite a few items were discussed. In order to save the time, I'll hit the highlights. The auditor was there. Right now, it looks like the audit will be presented to the board sometime in December. The state has been a little slow in getting figures for all of the auditors. The safety and security initiatives have been implemented in all of our schools for the 15-16 school year. Long-term 2001 referendum project, paperwork has been finalized, it's sitting in Trenton, and once they start moving, we should realize some monies that are due to us. The refinancing of our outstanding debt is mandated by law. If the savings could be in excess of 2 to 3%, and our business administrator is investigating that through our bond counsel. Proposed budget development schedule, we looked at the one presented by the superintendent and the business administrator, and after a brief discussion, we're going to discuss it further at our next meeting. And the business office staff is at 100% now, and I understand the second position started on Monday, Diane?
Yes.
We're fully staffed there, which is a good move. I know we've had some turnover there, and that concludes my report. Any questions?
Charlie, I was at the meeting as well. I just had a question. We were, item number 11, the budget development, we talked about possible change in that and discussing it with the board. We'll do that next meeting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
It's item number, on the minutes, I don't know if we have it in front of me, it's item number 11.
Very well. Thank you.
CIT curriculum?
No,
Excellent. Policy?
we went over about 18 policies, a lot of them boilerplate, a couple minor changes, and it's going to be up for public hearing.
Are there any other committee reports?
Parent Communications Committee, I'll be sending around notice for us to get together at some point over the next few weeks. So I'll be sending out emails.
Okay. Any delegate liaison reports? Mike?
Yeah, I just want to mention, I felt that the Morris County School Board Association they had a speaker from the state talking about the testing, some of which our superintendent just went over. And I felt after that presentation, I thought it was very good from my point of view. And I felt some of my concerns were lessened because, as a result of that presentation. And so I thought it was very helpful. And I noticed that our superintendent was taking copious notes. I didn't want to interrupt her during the presentation, but I thought it was very worthwhile. And it's something that I feel much better, and I just want to reassure everyone else after hearing that presentation about this good testimony.
Yeah, it's funny you mention that, Mike, because, well, Dr. Erlickson is a very good speaker. I've heard her speak before. She has tremendous command of the information. I came away feeling not only more informed, but as you say, reassured about the test and how the results will be interpreted and how they'll be used. And so it was somewhat reassuring. And I'm happy to hear I wasn't the only one that felt that way.
I just sensed there was a big lessening of tension in the room as the report progressed among all the people that were there. It's something you can almost feel.
And I thought one of the, something important that she mentioned was that, as Dr. Rotor mentioned, there is no basis for comparison for this first set of results. And that the second year that the park is administered, we should expect what's called a sophomore bump. There should be an increase, probably a little out of proportion to what the real increase would or should be, and that's just a result of the students and staff becoming more familiar with the test. So it was a very good talk. Any other liaison reports? I'll just mention that the next Morris County School Board Association meeting is November 18th. The date was moved up to a Wednesday. And that topic will be HIB and bullying. And New Jersey School Boards, as we all know, is hosting its annual workshop. So anyone interested in attending should let Jim know. I think Jim may be releasing some of the hotel rooms soon. So if you're interested in going, let him know. Any other, John? Mike? Did you have it?
No. I covered for Mr. Morel last month, since he resigned to attend, and I covered for him. Angela Velarde, as you know, the executive superintendent, had very good representation. About 14 districts were there. They just went through the opening of the school, and basically we're looking at trying to expand programs as they always are. And John and I are working for the organization.
Does Morris County Educational Services Committee. Thank you. Anything from Jack, Mike? Mustang Association,
Tomorrow night.
tomorrow night. If anyone can cover for Mike, please let him know. He's in need of a substitute. Any PCC liaison reports? David?
Hillsdale's having their first meeting tomorrow night.
Yeah, that's right. I'll be there. I'll be there.
I think we do have some big news with negotiations.
Yes,
And
yes.
Dr. Payne, if you would please do the honors.
This evening, Karen, we'll be voting item L6 in the agenda. Is on a successor agreement with the MTEA to the one that expired June 30th of 2015. Most of the combining of contracts, if you recall, was done 3 years ago. We combined at the MTEA's request for bargaining groups, the paraprofessionals, custodians, secretaries, and teachers. And this time around, we were able to work on operational issues. The negotiations throughout were professional, understanding, and collaborative. The board and the association were able to reach an agreement without a mediator. We began in January, and absent of buttoning down some details, we were mostly done before the end of the school year. The essential terms are a 3-year contract with increases annually of 2.5% the first year, 2.5% the second year, and 2.4% the third year. Some employees may have gotten more, some less, but on average these percentages hold. To correct some inequities, a small additional sum was provided to the secretarial staff. Co-curricular and coaching stipends were frozen for 1 year and will increase in the final 2 years by slightly less than these percentages. The board and the staff are mindful of the 2% revenue cap imposed by the state. There is sufficient money in this year's budget to fund these increases and all of the other economic improvements. In addition, for the past 4 years, all district employees have been contributing towards their medical insurance premiums. This year, those contributions are close to $1.5 million, which is used to offset our total premium cost. The employees will continue to make their full contributions towards medical insurance premiums for the life of the agreement. To address some issues caused by the Affordable Care Act and the concerns of the MTEA, the parties agreed to provide health insurance to our paraprofessionals on economic terms that made sense for both sides. Other changes include a modest increase in the amount of money available for tuition reimbursement and changes to the existing language to make it conform to the law. New stipends are established for employees with certifications in HVAC, plumbing, electrical, and asbestos abatement. These enable our staff to perform services which otherwise would have been performed by outside contractors. Special education teachers at Lazar will begin to work the same schedules as their colleagues in the middle school. Without creating a new category of time off, the parties agreed that staff may use some of the accumulated leave time in the event of a critical illness in the immediate family. Staff meeting language was modified. Rates for curriculum revision and writing will be raised. The resolutions of the staff meeting and curriculum writing issues also resolve 2 pending arbitrations which could potentially have cost the district tens of thousands of dollars. Through the efforts of Mr. Porter and Dr. Freed and their willingness to collaborate in the interest of the district as a whole, these 2 disputes have been withdrawn. This is a large project and there were so many people involved. And I just wanted to take a moment to thank, first of all, the administration. While he's not here, I hope word gets to Dr. Freed of the incredible help he was to moving this along. He was incisive, thoughtful. He came up with solutions. He ripped apart dilemmas and put them back together with creative solutions that worked for both sides. Mr. Teves, who is not here this evening as well, His financial calculations, guidance, and advice was unparalleled. Our board attorney, Mr. Adelstein, I hope that you will thank, on behalf of the Board of Education, Mr. Brown, who sometimes we asked him, Andy, to work outside of his comfort zone, but he did just an incredible job, as well as his cohort and co-worker, Josh Savitz. I'd also like to thank Mr. Porter, who is the head of the MTEA, as well as the entire negotiating team for the MTEA. Those of us that were on our team always felt that we were surrounded by professional, thoughtful individuals who were there to create an agreement that was fair to both sides. Thank you, Mr. Porter. I see you in the back of the room. Finally, I'd like to thank the Board of Education. As the public knows, a number of times we brought things back to the board, and the support and decisive nature of the board was extremely helpful in supporting us. And to my teammates, Dr. Cordolino, I know this isn't your first time on these negotiations. You've done it before. Dr. Modrak, your first time. Thank you very much. We worked well as a team. We didn't always agree, but we came up with decisions that worked. Thank you to everyone.
Thank you, Matt, and I'd like to make special note, Matt, of your leadership through the entire process. I would like to extend my thanks and gratitude to you, along with David, for sticking it through with us and asking very good questions at very important times. Andy and Josh, of course, who at times provided comic relief. Of course, Dr. Freed, as Matt mentioned, who Matt really said it all about Paul. Jim Tevis, who was always very prepared and would provide information to us late at night in a moment's notice. I'm grateful to Jim. And of course to Peter back there. To you and your team, I think that Montville is a model for positive negotiations. Not only can we get the job done in a professional way, we get it done in a collegial and, frankly, a very friendly fashion. So congratulations to you as well.
Yeah, I would say also, Dr. Rovtar came in at the very end of this, and you did help to move things along at the very end, and we appreciate that work as well. Thank you.
You guys have done the heavy lifting, so that's fine. Charlie?
Yeah, I'm very happy to support item number L6. And I also would like to offer my congratulations to the team, Board of Education team, the teacher team. I think the professional manner in which it was handled is very important. I know the number of nights that you guys were out. I used to come by here when I come back from another meeting. I could see the cars parked there. I never managed to come in because I don't want to stay out that
Well,
late.
it's good because we were really partying.
Right. But in any event, I think the contract is a very fair contract. I know that the ratification vote was overwhelming by the teachers. And I think that's a sign of their confidence in you, Peter, as their president. And I sincerely mean that. I think things have changed with you as its leader. And I think that the board's team, with the support of the board, have generated a contract that is going to be excellent and one that we can live with until the next contract. But 3 years from now, we'll worry about that. But right now, I wanted to congratulate everybody involved because you can't imagine what the time pressure, the time constraints are until you've done it. And you guys have done it. Thank you.
Thank you, Charlie. Mike?
I don't mean to pile on, but I didn't want Charlie to get the last word. So I've been wanting to say this. I don't think people in the public who have not been involved in negotiations can really understand the degree of patience, the length, and how arduous this process can be. And I too, like everyone else, want to take my hat off for this reason particularly, that we went through a very, very important process, a key building block of the district. Without the waters, being disturbed perceptibly that I even saw. And that is of such incredible importance for the emotional, psychological aspects of the school district, to keep it that way. So the staff can focus on the real focus of our district, and that is the welfare of our young people. So I cannot really say enough from my point of view, watching this process and how well it went, and the effort that went into it. I really don't know how to say this, because not all districts work this way, and not all history works this way. It was really refreshing and a tribute. I really cannot say enough. I guess I've said enough, right? And I really, my hat is off to everyone that's been involved, that's been named in this process. I think it has kept our district healthier by the process transpiring in the fashion that we saw this round of negotiations. Thank you.
Are there any other reports? Okay, I'll open it up to the public for items on the agenda.
Hi, Peter Porter, the MTA president. I do want to take a moment to pile on some more, because I think it's an appropriate moment. I want to thank Matt, Karen, and David. They too were professional. We worked hard together. We maintained the idea that this wasn't personal. We just looked at issues and worked things through. Steve, you're going to take this back to Andy. You might fall out of his chair, but I really want to thank Andy. It was an incredible amount of work that he did. He really stayed the course with all of us and had moments where he was able to guide literally both sides in certain things, and I think he worked really well with our own negotiator, Steve. We, as an association, appreciate the fact that we could finish on time. I think Karen's point is very well taken. I used to go to union training, and Montville was the example of what not to do. And when you can go to summer leadership, and somebody stands up in front of the room and says, Montville, this is the way to do it, I think that's some of the things you're hearing from Mike, because he's been in the district and been on the other side when it wasn't as nice as it has been lately. So thank you so much for being professional. I know my members do appreciate the fact that we got the contract, as you said, pretty close to on time. And I can't say enough for Dr. Freed and his role in being willing to work with me and being able to see through things and recognize what the board's position was and work together. And thank you so much for today, because even at the end, you're right, the heavy lifting was done, but there were some things you needed to do to help us put some WD-40 in the work so everything ran smoothly. So thank you very much, and appreciate all the hard work.
Thank you, Peter.
They all deserve it.
Anyone else in the public would like to speak? Okay, I'll close public participation. Motion for items I through O, including the addendum.
So moved. Second.
Charlie and John, thank you. Any questions on the minutes? Items J, K, L, L, yay on L6, M, N, policy?
First reading.
No questions on policy?
It's the first reading.
And the addendum? I guess we're ready for a roll call. Mr. Jordan, thank you.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Morello?
Abstain on minutes and yes on everything else.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Dr. Modrak?
Yes.
Mrs. Novy?
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien?
I would like to abstain on number L5, number 1, and yes on everything else.
Mr. Palmer?
Abstain on item I, yes on everything else.
I'm sorry?
Abstain on item I of the minutes, yes on everything else.
Dr. Kane?
Abstain, aye, minutes to September 21st, and yes to everything else.
Dr. Cordelino?
Yes.
Can I change something, Diane, please? I'd like to abstain on the minutes, I wasn't at the last meeting.
Madam President,
Yes.
I missed the meeting too, and I don't know what item it is. So I'm going to be clear. That
Minutes?
is mine.
Aye.
What's it?
It was aye.
Aye.
I'm sorry.
Okay, that's okay. So abstain on aye for Mr. Grau and
I don't know which meeting it was.
September 21st.
You were here the last meeting.
yes, Mike, you were here.
All right, okay.
You were here.
Okay.
Yes.
So you don't need to abstain.
Sorry, I know, just the one mess up.
The change was yes or no?
It was the one that was changed, the date that was changed.
Oh, in July.
All right, so we're okay?
What are,
Yeah, we're good.
Motion passed.
Okay, thanks.
You're talking about the first October.
Okay, good. Is there any old business? Any general board comments? Mike?
Yeah, I would just like to bring up a topic. I don't know whether it's a topic that we should be concerned about, and I'd just like to put it out there for our superintendent and for everyone. And I don't want to create any work for anyone. There's been quite a bit of press lately and internet chatter about the way in which textbooks are being written. Particularly textbooks that deal with history. And I'm not sure how many of you are familiar with this controversy because some states and so on are large purchasers of textbooks. They have been driving certain information out of the textbooks, particularly about the treatment of various groups of American history, particularly and I don't know if this, I have great confidence in our staff selecting the textbooks. I just wanted to bring up is an area where our district needs to be concerned. Does it impact us at all? Or are the textbooks in this section of the country from whatever publishers not faced with this issue? I'm not looking for an answer, right at this moment or anything like that. But Dr. Wilter, are you familiar with the topic that I'm talking about?
yes, and I know that in Texas, unlike most other places in the country, I believe, if it's still true, the state adopts textbooks, and they are used by every district in the state. So it does give them a lot of buying power, but that certainly is not the case here. So when we are adopting a new textbook, we actually do go through a very thorough review of it, and I certainly have seen the articles that you're referencing, and it certainly is something that I think we would be sensitive to as if we were at a point that we were going to be adopting any new text. We do a very thorough job.
So in other words, the teachers reviewing textbooks have a number of choices in most cases still.
Unlike Texas,
Publishers that they can
yes.
choose them, they're not mandated. I just wanted to be clear on this for the public in case that issue, is viewed on the internet or in the New York Times where it's been and so on, that our staff can make decisions. Am I correct?
Absolutely,
Yes.
yes, those, and Ms. Woodring can speak to that, what our process, I don't know, Andrea, if you want to comment on that.
Whenever we are about to purchase a new textbook series, we usually form a committee of the individuals who teach the course, the supervisor. We go and do research. We bring in several different ones that the committee thinks are valid. And then we try to pilot them. We get them out to as many teachers as we can. We get them in the classrooms to see how they are, and then that committee reconvenes with feedback from the teachers to then make that determination. We have to do an affirmative action process, go through the textbooks, look at all the pictures, the captions, everything to make sure that we're not violating or discriminating against any one group. And then it goes to the board for, and the superintendent recommends which one we're gonna go with.
Yeah, I just want to clarify for everyone and for the public that our district then does have choices of a number of books, and we choose that book based on the work of the previewing and the committee and the recommendations and so on. So we're not bound to one book which may be discriminatory or, shall I say, twisting history in a very unfortunate fashion. Okay. Yes, thank you. I appreciate it.
Mr. Porter, did you want to contribute something? I noticed you came up.
Yeah, I served on the American Historical Association for 4 years. I rotated off last January. I was heavily involved in this issue. I was involved in the writing of a letter to the Board of Education in Colorado when they tried to get rid of AP. We also wrote a letter to the board in Texas. Texas and California are the main problems because they buy their textbooks en masse. They have incredible purchasing power. There were some modifications. You probably saw the story in the Washington Post and in the New York Times about changes in the AP curriculum and how that might affect the textbooks. I will verify that Montville is very good. We still have the practice we had in the high school. If I wanted new textbooks, which I was looking for because AP Euro changed their exams, I had to get 3 or 4 samples. I worked with David Tubbs. We looked through the books together. Because last year was a tough budget year, we didn't do it, but we'll be looking to try again this year to try and get a new textbook. So in Montville, we've maintained the process of looking through multiple copies. Kind of the teacher still has that ability to look through and find things if they're not appropriate or they don't agree with them. They can get rid of it and go to a different book. But it is a national discussion that's going on. Most of the academic organizations are heavily involved in the discussion, and I know there's a lot of debate that's going to go back and forth on what's considered twisting the truth and what's not, and what's going to go in. And I think in Jersey, having also written standards 2 different times, that we're in a good place as far as textbooks and information goes. We may not always agree on the language we use to create a standard and the Common Core issues, but with the history of the textbooks, we're pretty solid.
Yeah, I just want to reassure anybody in the public that may be reading the Post or the Times or whatever national publications, that we are not, from what you're saying, in the same boat as Texas and California. We have the freedom, so to speak, to make appropriate academic decisions for a district which is a high-achieving district and needs to have an appropriate textbook. I just wanted to clarify.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate it. Thank you.
David?
Along those same lines, science is also affected that way. There are certain people who like to keep certain things out of science. And again, I know you probably do a pretty good job of making sure that it's balanced. Also, if you don't mind, I'd like to take a moment and extend my condolences and sadness to the folks out in Oregon. This was, our 45th shooting on a campus this year. The amount of gun violence that's in this country is really intolerable. I don't see a lot of people out there, politicians, and I know we have not had the problems here in Montville. We've only had a couple weapons issues in those eyes, and that's great, wonderful. I hope it never comes to Montville, and again, my condolences to those in Oregon who lost family members and brothers and sisters.
Thank you.
May I piggyback on 2 things that you said? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to, first of all, take the textbook as one area. You're right, science is a whole nother a whole other thing. And secondly, your comments about the school violence, and maybe at some point down the road, I'm not sure, these things can happen, you don't know where the next thing is. I know that our security committee has put a lot of time and effort into this topic, and maybe I don't know if you can reassure the public or what we can do, but they should be aware that we have a security committee that we've been working with. I can't speak for that committee, maybe Mr. Burrell can, But it is something we should be conscious of, and that, parents may be concerned. You don't know where things are going. So it's a hugely important issue.
We're always looking at trends, we're always looking at what's going on in the world today. And we revisit it every quarter, so that this way we can, fix what needs to be fixed and look at new things that are out there that we can put into play. Also, on another aspect, any word from the town when we're going to be meeting on the SRO issue?
No.
Okay.
Is there any time frame that we may know more about this? Or is it?
I will ask again.
Oh, I
I
see.
have repeatedly asked Mr. Canning to provide, some possible, some dates, yes.
Is the
And-
ball in their court effectively?
Oh, almost definitely,
Okay.
yes. Oh, yes, definitely. And I will ask him again this week. But, at the risk of being a pest, I have asked politely numerous times, and I have not been able to get a date from him, or even a series of potential dates from him.
That's disturbing. I just want to report that on November 1st and November 7th, there will be another airing of the Classroom Close-Up of New Jersey, which will be featuring our humanities research program. I don't know if anyone had a chance to watch the October 3rd episode or the September 27th episode, but it would make you feel proud of that high school program.
May I comment, Madam President? I thought that was a really great presentation. I watched it twice, because I know some people. I was going to ask for autographs, but I thought it was a really great presentation. Our assistant superintendent was in segment up. Okay, I'm not sure if Peter was. I don't know who else would be here, but I thought it was really, first of all, it was great on the level that it's a wonderful thing that they're doing, but it was great on another level as telling about our district. I know that's bragging, so it was wonderful on two levels if you watch that presentation.
If there are no further board comment, I'll open it up to the public for items on the agenda. Items not on the agenda. Okay, guys.
I'm Terry Ann Mohamedin, 3 Sylvan Drive in Pinebrook. Almost gave you my maiden name. It's been a long time, 15 years married. I just wanted to say that as the parent of a 10th grade history student at the high school, I did go home today and grab my son's history textbook because of what we've been hearing in the news. So and I was very pleased. I found it to be very historically accurate. It's Pearson. And so I thank Mr. O'Brien for bringing up that topic. I think it is on the minds of some parents. And I appreciated learning the whole process that we go through to make sure that they are historically accurate. So thank you.
Thank you. See no further public comment? Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Thank you.